the panelists that managed to come into our today's forum, and all the beloved audiences that with us. Thank you so much for spending your time to hear and learn and in your ear and heart to hear to our forums today. So today's topic is actually about the SDG 11. So does anyone here know about SDG 11? I mean, each of the panelists must very well know of the SDG 11. So for the audiences, SDG 11 is about the sustainable cities and communities. And with that, we brought a very specific topic, which is Kuala Lumpur can be transformed into a car-free city vision. When we talk about a free car city vision, it's not about we want to ban 100% the usage of private car, but we want to minimize or to reduce the usage of the private car in the road, in the highway or on the road, specifically in Kuala Lumpur. So before anything, my name is Anis and I will be the moderator for today. With one say that, okay, the form is not complete if I didn't, introduce each of the panelists. I can see some of the familiar face today. So I hope everyone is in good condition, okay? So let's firstly start with Mr. Fahim. So Mr. Fahim, he's actually, say hello to everyone. So Mr. Fahim is actually a daily user of public transport in Kuala Lumpur. So in today's forum, we want to bring to you a perspective not only from the government side, from the advocate side, but also from the layman side, from the public side. So today we bring Mr. Fahim. He always commute with public transport from your home to your workplace. Yeah, so he is very familiar with Kuala Lumpur public transport. I can say that he is always there from the very early development of probably MRT Putrajaya Link up until what we have today. And next to me is our beautiful Ms. Kasih. So Ms. Kasih is a local government representative, specifically from Dewan Bandaraya Kuala Lumpur. So actually this is my second collaboration with Ms. Kasih. Previously we have met during the program of Kuala Lumpur signing up for the Kuala Lumpur Vision 2040. So Ms. Kasih will bring the viewpoint of policy makers, specifically from Kuala Lumpur, Dewan Bandaraya Kuala Lumpur. She's also been specialized in the urban planning and also cities development. Correct. Okay, so Mr. Shakir is also, we met for quite a few times before. So Mr. Shakir is actually an environmental advocate. So he will tell us why do this car-free city policy is really important and how do it impact our environment as a whole. So without further ado, before anything, I think it's much more appropriate for me to explain what is the rules and regulations for today. So basically, audience, my beloved audience, there will be two main rounds. Okay, the first round is that I will ask each of our panelists the related questions about our topic, and the second round is that each of the panelists will be given the chance to ask another panelist about the answer that they had been given during the first round. And audiences, do not worry, we also have Q&A session, which is question and answer. And please don't forget to jot down anything that you're curious, and please post that questions during the Q&A session. With that, I think everyone is clear now. So without further ado, let's moving on. So for some people, the idea of the free city vision is quite ambitious. But this is actually not an isolated vision. There are a lot of other cities in other countries that have been implemented the same vision, such as Oslo in Norway, Amsterdam, and Barcelona. And for example, if I can give one example, Oslo in Norway, they had implementing the restrictions of the usage of private car and encouraging their citizens to walk instead of using private car. So this is very, I think we can take an example, and it's not a very new topic. So I think without further ado, but before that, the ultimate question is that is Kuala Lumpur is ready to collect or to transform or to accept the transformation to become a free city vision, to accept this vision. So the first question I want to pose to Mr. Fahim, as a daily public transport or is it like in your opinion is acceptable based on your daily usage of public transport?
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to all my friendly faces. Before I begin, I would like to express my sincerest gratitude to Ms. Anis for kind introduction and for orchestrating this important discussion today. So to begin with, in my experience, basically as a daily user, KL's public transport has really improved, especially with extensive rail networks like MRT, LRT, monorail, and KTM. And as we know, the recent development that we can also travel to Kelantan using the train. So, however, despite all of this improvement, there are many commuters find it's a bit challenging to fully rely on public transport in terms of last mile connectivity, frequency of peak hours, and also accessibility in suburban areas. So, in terms of in my experience, some of the neighborhood, are not within the walking distance between their house and also the station. So, in terms of bus, like the feeder bus is a bit unreliable because there sometimes could occur like accident, traffic jam, and such, which this could, create a turbulence in terms of going to their work, basically. So, but one thing, the merit or the good side of public transportation is in terms of affordability. For example, I will give you a bit of situation. For example, this person A and person B have the same socio-economic, and then in terms of, I would say commitment, they are still single, and then maybe they are working KL. Okay. So the difference between these two persons is that the first person A, have a car. Which he bought a car, and then so for the monthly commitment in terms of car loans, and then the fuel, and also the tax. And there is another person B, definitely I would say this guy does not have a lot of commitment in terms of he just commute using the public transport, which is I would say it's just cost maybe for 100 per month in terms of transportation only. So this could create a difference in terms of their commitment, which is very different. For example, you can get an unlimited rail pass. Just there are certain promotion or also which is like 100 ringgit for a month, and then just a fraction from the another person, which is the person A, maybe cost in 2,000 a month. You need to pay the installment, you need to pay the loans, you need to pay the parking and whatsoever. So, but other than that, as we look in the perspective of sociology, which in terms of culture, as we know, Malaysians have this what we call as car culture, which we definitely would wanted to buy cars, to commute and whatsoever, because this is also been statistic proven that 473 cars per 1,000 people, which the highest rate in Asia basically. So this is maybe because of the convenience of the car, and then especially for families, they would preferable with cars. And then there are also perception in the public, which is the public transport is unreliable, overcrowded sometimes, and also unsafe keeps from people from making this switch. Okay, so for KL public transport to replace cars, several changes need to be done, such as in terms of betterment of last mile solution. Example you need to expand the bike lanes and also pedestrian real-time tracking for all the service, and also pathways in terms of to make sure that the safety of the public user. In terms of accessibility and infrastructure, so as in terms of accessibility, there still remains a significant hurdle. Only some stations are fully provided or wheelchair friendly for our OKU's friend. So other than that, in terms of women, right now we could see there are some women coach, which is specifically for women, that is a good thing. But in terms of the walkways, the pathways, which is for the pedestrian during the night, it's very scary. And yeah, in terms of CCTV, there are still lack of safety in that regards. So this poor pedestrian infrastructure around station could discourage working, and some of the infrastructure are not well maintained, and this is something that sometimes we overlook in terms of maintenance. So personally, if we are talking about the reality, basically the reality of current reality, the system serves the city, but the problem is maybe in terms of infrastructure need to be improved. And from my side, I think it is not ready to replace private cars yet, but why the system is not quite ready, but by continuation of investment and also policy reform could make a viable alternative for the new future. That's all from me. I give it back to the
Thank you so much, Mr. Farouk. So basically, Mr. Farouk had provided us with the advantages and also disadvantages of public transport, current public transport in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur specifically. And he mentioned that probably Kuala Lumpur is not yet ready to implement this car-free city vision. But I actually agree with what Mr. Farouk said about the mindset of the people, that the private car is an essential things in our daily life. And when we talk about the vision of the free city, what are the biggest challenge that we need to handle is the mindset of the people. And that's, I think, I agree with you, that's the biggest challenge. But I understand from your point of view that you believe that Kuala Lumpur is yet ready to implement this free city vision. Thank you so much, Mr. Fahim. And next, we will move on to our representative from the Bandaraya Kuala Lumpur. And Mr. Kassim, can you help me and all the audiences to understand what are the key steps that have been taken specifically by the Dewan Bandaraya Kuala Lumpur, and what are the major challenges, if any, that the government had encountered during the steps to implement this vision?
Thank you to our Ms. Margarita. So first of all, I would like to say thank you for this opportunity to become one of the panelists in today's forum. To answer Ms. Ani's questions, from the Dewan Bandaraya Kuala Lumpur's perspective, as a local government, we have taken several initiatives in order to support the car-free vision in the city of Kuala Lumpur, including the pedestrian in at least in the 10 major roads in city of Kuala Lumpur, such as Jalan Raja and Jalan Tunku Abdul Rahman, also known as Jalan Tar. This road will be closed to the private vehicles in stages, model to a previous runs that has been done in the Jalan Masjid Indah and Jalan Tar previously, where by closing this road, it will help to create a larger pedestrian-friendly areas. And this initiative is aimed to achieve to reduce the traffic congestion and also carbon emissions, and in order to improving the urban livability. And also, besides that, DBKL also supports the program known as the KL Car Free Morning Program, where it is a program as there are several roads in Kuala Lumpur that will be closed in the public during some specific days like weekend, where when these roads are closing to the private vehicles, where it will encourage people instead of using private vehicles, they can cycling, walking, and do some community activities during this period of time. So by complementing to this effort, it will expanding the pedestrian infrastructure, including the dedicated cycling lane, and also providing a shaded walkways for people in order to promote public transport integrations to reduce the reliance on the private vehicles. And also, we all know that in Kuala Lumpur, one of the major public transport use is train, right? So trains play a very, very crucial role in supporting the car-free vision, since from the train we are provided with an easy, accessible, and efficient rail network system for users in Kuala Lumpur. So, for example, we have different types of train. We have MRT, LRT, commuter, KTM, KLIA Transit, where all of these different types of trains will help in connecting from city areas to urban areas, or from urban areas to suburban. So, and we also have an example, for example, like MRT Kajang Line and Putrajaya Line, where these train provide a very high capacity metro services for the users in order like they can travel from a city center to outlying district in a shorter time without need to face traffic jam. And also we have LRT Kelana Jaya, Sri Petaling and Ampang, where all of these train networks provided connected from the residential areas to the commercial hubs across the Kelang Valley areas. So by having this system, railway network system in Kuala Lumpur, it also providing us with the bus services and also pedestrian-friendly road where it can help in enhance the last mile connectivity. However, there are some challenges because to implement these kind of things, it involves public participation, right? So there are some mixed public acceptance where some of, especially from the business owners and residents, where they think that they do not fully support the car-free ideas since they are worried that they will have loss of access and have a few parking spots and also have a few customers to their business since the road will be closed down from the car. And also one of the major challenges is, as well as I mentioned, it's about public mindset where they prefer to use private vehicles compared to public transport. Since we can see in Malaysia, the weather is not comfortable for us to use public transport to walk in a very hot and humid weather. It will sweat a lot for people. So that's why they option to choose private vehicles more than public transport. And lastly, in order to have one of the important issues is in making sure that the car-free areas is still accessible for people with disability. That these zones will be connected well with the public transport option. So to summarize my point, the BKL is committed in creating a more sustainable and people-friendly Kuala Lumpur by combining the car-free road closure. We have active improvement in the infrastructure and also have a strong support for public transit options. However, there are some overcoming efforts that needs to be addressed. For example, to overcome the challenge, infrastructure challenges and also public acceptance and the stakeholder consent to make them fully realize that you can make this as contribution to realize that the city's contributions can be made in the future. So I think that is all from me for now. So I'll pass the floor back to our moderator.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kasih. A very thoughtful and overall discussion and opinion. And I actually very attracted to what had Mary Kuala Lumpur been invented about the Kuala Lumpur car-free unit, is it? Yeah, it's very when the area will close few of the major roads. Okay, so it's really, for me, for someone who lives in KL as well, it's very refreshing to see the most busiest cities in Malaysia to be actually quite quiet that day, and most of the people will just walk or just ride the public transport. But like Mr. Fahim and Ms. Kasih said, the most biggest challenges what we encounter right now is the public mindset. So, but we are really excited to see how Dewan Moderator Kuala Lumpur will encounter and to overcome these challenges. So, very so much, Ms. Kassim. And the very last but not least, we have Mr. Sharkey as an environmental advocate. How urgent it is for Kuala Lumpur to accept or to implement this free city vision, and what are the benefits that will be given to the environment?
Right. Assalamualaikum. Good morning and hi. I'm back to Ms. Moderator, my fellow panelists and also members of the floor. Alright. So to answer the question, what are the benefits of going for a car-free city, and also what the needs? What is the need for KL? How urgent is the need for KL to go in this direction? Okay. So the answer is both clear and urgent. Okay. So let us begin with answering the benefits. So, but before I show you benefits, I tell you, okay, by the data, Kuala Lumpur faces significant air quality issue, which is due to the car emission, and which we know from the car emission, which it causes respiratory and cardiovascular diseases, and by reducing the dependency on automobiles, it can actually reduce this greenhouse gas emission. So, if I like to share with you, our transport sector, okay, in Kuala Lumpur actually was 25%. They contribute to the carbon dioxide heat island effect. So, what is an urban heat island effect? Urban heat island effect is when the city becomes much hotter than the areas around it. This occurs due to presence of numerous buildings, cars and roads in the city, and it absorbs the heat. And I'll give you an example. During the day, when the sun brights on the roads, on the building and the cars, they retain the heat. So when at night, actually, instead of cooling down, pollution, which give benefits to both as human beings and also the urban wildlife. Moving on to the second question, how urgent the need for Kuala Lumpur to go in this direction? The urgency is obvious. Kuala Lumpur finds itself at a crucial juncture. Okay, our city already seeing the effects of climate change. Okay, right now we have seeing the increase in temperature. We feel Kuala Lumpur much more hotter. If we compare back 10 years ago and so on, we see more frequent fresh floods. We also can see that many people in Kuala Lumpur itself getting health consequences from the air pollution. The longer we wait, actually, the more intense the issue becomes, and making it more difficult to combat the harm, and making it costly to reduce the harm. However, the goal is not only to prevent tragedy but also to create a better future. A car-free city does not restrict movement, rather it reimagine mobility to be cleaner, healthier and more inclusive. To achieve true freedom, we must construct necessary infrastructure which we can improve our public transport, and we can also encourage cycling. Other than that, I think this is quite important to highlight, is that we have to change our mindset, and we have to we must also reconsider our view on automobiles, which is right now I think most of us, most of the fellow Malaysian citizens seem having a private vehicle is a symbol of success and freedom. But instead, in my opinion, a true symbol of freedom is that when we actually live in a situation where we could avoid traffic jams, we could live without the air pollution, and also we could live without financial pressure. We know owning a private vehicle is not a cheap thing to have. So if we could manage to avoid this thing, we actually achieve the true freedom instead of having the private vehicle. Okay, to summarize, the environmental benefits of car-free Kuala Lumpur are undeniable: cleaner air and lesser emission, cooler temperature and a healthier populace. But it's also crucial to note that the need is urgent, and the window for action is closing. If we begin now with strong determination, good planning and support from the local community, we can create a KL that is not just a car-free city, but it is also more livable, sustainable and resilient. I think that's all from me, and I'll short on pass back to Alex.
Thank you to Mr. Shakir. So how urgent is it for Kuala Lumpur to imply this vision is that it is urgent, but we need to take a reasonable steps as well. And I think not only me, but as well as the audiences, we also learn a new term, which is urban heat island effect. Now I know the scientific reason why in Kuala Lumpur is much more hotter than here in the UMC. So thank you so much, Mr. Shakir. And I think that's the end for our first round. Okay, thank you so much to all our panelists for giving your utmost contributions. And I think from Mr. Fahim, we get to know from the perspective of public users on how Kuala Lumpur public transport works and how is it really reliable or not. And from this discussion, we get to see what are the key challenges and what are the steps that have been taken and what will be taken to implement this vision in the future. And from Mr. Shakir, we get to see how urgent it is for Kuala Lumpur to implement this free city vision. So without further ado, okay, I think let's move on to the second round. In the second round, each of the panelists will be asked the question to another panelist, and I would like to gently remind each of you to use a gentle words, and if you have any question, kindly use a gentle minutes and whatnot. And I would also like to, because of the time constraint, the asking and the answering session will only be conducted maximum for 2 minutes. Okay? So I think probably we can start first from Ms. Kasih.
Okay, I have a question to Mr. Fang. You mentioned earlier about last mile connectivity as a barrier. So, what are your practical solutions that you would encourage people to live their house at home?
So thank you, Ms. Kasih, for fielding those excellent questions. So let me address a few particular straight out answers. So as someone who keeping a car for emergencies, I personally experienced the last month frustration. But what I would like to suggest is the first game changer is to integrated micro mobility solution. So what is micro mobility solution? Basically, micro mobility solution is when you are trying to transit from your home to the station. So basically, maybe we can suggest in terms of dockless e-scooters or e-bikes at the major station. For example, like cities like Taipei have shown reduced last mile travel time by 70%. So by having this micro mobility solution like scooters, basically people who are going to that station or in transit, they can use that vehicle. So, but provided that there must be a cycling infrastructure, meaning that there need to have a separate lines, separate road. For example, the main road and also the cyclist road, basically. So, and then in the second suggestion is that maybe we need to have a smart feeder bus system. As we know that our current feeder are often feel like afterthought, because to make it much more effective, then we need to have like maybe an application that we could check GPS tracker where are the bus, so that we could predict when the bus are coming, and then if there are circumstances like traffic jam or accident or the vehicle are having trouble, so we could take an alternative action. Maybe we could order Grab. And then for the third action is that maybe back to the psychology part, which is the behavioral change program. So this in terms of the action, basically from the government itself, and also partnership maybe from the corporate. For example, a big company, maybe they could discuss with the government to create an incentive, so that this could promote employees to use the public transport. And other than that, maybe we could suggest free trial periods for new micro mobility option. Maybe for startup company that are for like scooter startup company, maybe they could give free trial, so that we could try with their product and at the same time promote the public transport. And then the last would be the walkability revolution. As my panelists mentioned that with the heat and then the temperature of Malaysia, how the environment it is, we could compare with the Singapore, as they also have the same climate with Malaysia. But I think that in terms of environment, maybe we could, create a continuous shaded walkways so that it is not too hot. And then in terms of mixed-use development, which means that we need to create or need to have a town planning in terms of where to put in terms of our office is nearby with the station and many more. I think I hope that I answered that question. So Ms. Kasir, if you can bring all of this integration, which is proper micromobility, smart buses, walkable streets, I would happy to send my car to him.
Thank you, Mr. Pai, but I think this is a session today. And I think, Ms. Kasih, Ms. Pai had already answered the question, e-bikes, a smart feeder bus, and behavior change program. I think they were very called the push winner on that. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Pai. So next, probably, we have another question.
Yeah, I do have a question for Ms. Kasih. Okay. So Ms. Kasih, how does the DBKL or the city plan to balance the urban development with the need for green spaces and non-motorized transport?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shakir, for your question. So from TBKL's perspective, Kuala Lumpur City Planning aims to balance the urban development with the need of the green spaces and also the support from the non-motorized public transport. So first, we can see from Kuala Lumpur Structure Plan 2040 and Kuala Lumpur City Plan 2020, where it is emphasizing in increasing of the availability and accessibility of green spaces. So the BKL targets a 100% increase in green spaces by the end of 2040, where it is aligned with the World Health Organization recommended ratio to have 20 square meters of green spaces per resident. So this is also including to conserve the existing forests with the recreational areas, also creating new parks, urban plaza, and green linear spaces that serve as a park connectors and also pedestrian-friendly areas. And also to maximize the linking of the urban land, the city integrates a smaller green spaces in the local play areas and also in green linear spaces into the redevelopment project, such as in the beneath of the MRT railway structure. So from this approach, it will help in order to create a continuous green spaces to support the biodiversity, improve the air quality, and also and also next for the non-motorized transport, we have incorporated pedestrians in the major roads and also provided an development of infrastructure for a shaded and comfortable walkways. So it will encourage people to walk more instead of using public transport, instead of using private vehicles. And also, this is also aligned with the city's broader comfort vision and smart city initiative in order to reduce on the dependency of the public transport. And of course, there is a challenges remains where challenges remain on the policy fragmentation. There is a different in policy procedure, and also there is a weak enforcement where it will make it hard to apply the green spaces infrastructure in our development. And also there's also a currently, where there's a gap in this distribution for green spaces in different types of residential area, where there are some neighborhood will receive a less access to the recreational parks compared to another areas. And in order to overcome this problem, we need to have a very clearer rules and have a better teamwork in the different types of group of people, and also we need to have more financial support in order to add more green spaces in all these city areas. So to sum up my points, I would like to say that Kuala Lumpur plans to balance the urban development with the need of the green spaces, and also promoting the normal transport through the pedestrian-friendly areas and also cycling infrastructure. So, so in order to overcome these challenges, overcoming the policy and implementation challenges will be the key to achieve a resilient, livable, and also a better city in the future for Kuala Lumpur. So, Mr. Shakir, I hope this will answer your questions. So that is all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shakir and Ms. Kasih. I'm really excited to use the future walkway that you say that friendly pedestrian. So, from this point,
I have a question to Mr. Shakir. So, some argue that car-free city could hurt local businesses by reducing accessibility. So, how could you address this concern?
Alright, thank you, Mr. Fahim. But I think I will make it short since I think most of us haven't got our breakfast yet. Alright, so that's a really valid concern, and I understand why some of the business owners might worry. But actually, many studies and research and real life example shows that reducing cars in city centres can help local business rather than hurting them. Building pedestrian-friendly spaces motivate individuals to spend more time shopping, strolling, and appreciating the surroundings. This motivates individuals to stop by cafes, look over little stores, and increase their expenditure. So, large car-free zones have proven advantages. If I like to give an example, such as in Copenhagen in Denmark, and also Melbourne in Australia, along with rising foot traffic and visiting neighborhood businesses, markets, and restaurants. These areas have evolved into thriving and prosperous shopping centres. Though at first, resulting in fewer patrons. I mean, there's not a lot of people, but then this improvement produced a more appealing, vibrant, and walkable environment that invites people to remain longer and boost the local economy. Last, noise and air pollution also contribute to more enjoyable and outdoor activities, which then benefit to local businesses. To sum up my points, actually it will bring benefit to the local businesses instead of harming them.
thank you so much, Mr. Shakir. It will not only becoming Kuala Lumpur Free Car City Vision, but we also increase the financial viability of the local sailor and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I think that's the end of our second round. So we will move quickly to the Q&A session. Okay, to sum up, okay, the Kuala Lumpur Free City Vision is not just like something that's not cannot be achievable, but it can be achieved with everyone's effort, from the government, citizens, and everyone. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us with our today's forum topic. See you again and have a nice day.